All right, so I think we are on YouTube now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunar Rhythms with Christeen Skinner. Every month, I will join Christine on the YouTube and share astrologers live, what's happening on the world. Hi, Christine. How are you?
I am really good, and spring is nearly here.
I heard about we have 2 day or 3 day good weather in England. Is that magical?
It's so welcome. It is just so welcome because the news is so awful. So, it just, yeah, you kind of just need a little bit of warmth to think maybe one day things won't be as bad as this.
I agree. I 100% agree. As we step into 2026, and the first couple days, Trump start to bombard taking President Maduro out of Venezuela, and then now what he's doing? Another part, his right hand grab the Venezuela, Mexico, and his another hand is fighting Iran with Israel. He's really busy, isn't it?
Should we talk about this first?
No, we shouldn't. I don't want to go there first. I mean, our life is we really feel that kind of a stress. That's a kind of I'm here with my family. Still, I have another couple days to go. But this lunar eclipse, oh, I want to talk about this. Should we start with lunar eclipse? Because this is super interesting. I heard so many astrologers feel that kind of impact of this lunar eclipse at 12-degree Virgo, and nearly everyone feel like emotional, stressful, or suddenly has to clean out something. And I don't know how how do
Okay,
you
well,
feel about it? Okay, yeah.
okay, well, all right, okay, well, I will tell you this. It hit my part of fortune. Mm.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
2 weeks beforehand, and in fact, on February the 13th, just as Saturn was trying to get out of Pisces, I heard that the legal case that has been ongoing for 2.5 years was concluded and found in my favor. This is to do with my husband's care. Mm. Now, yeah, and it was really it was absolutely breathtaking. I was
Congratulations.
I was particularly happy for the young lady lawyer, because
Hmm.
this was a very big thing for her. She was super diligent, a lovely Leo, right? And
Hmm.
I suspect quite a lot of planets in Virgo, right? And although I had not been confident when in the final panel meeting that made all the decisions, the moon was aligned with one of the stars that is called Gemma, right? And the lawyer's
Hmm.
name was Gemma. So I was hopeful. I thought that maybe her star was rising, and it sure was. She won the case. This was absolutely down to her. What was interesting is that Saturn was exact to the minute on my sun moon midpoint. So if you think of the sun moon midpoint as being the marriage point and Saturn marking
Hmm.
something definitive, if a bit of closure. Yeah, I mean, it was a defining moment. So anyway, I won the case, as it were. And then, just as we were drawing in towards the lunar eclipse, and I was obviously relieved, happy, blah, 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 then I got the next bit of bombshell, which said, right,
Hmm.
we need all your bank statements from 2022 onwards in order
No
to
way.
show what we paid out for Michael. Right? So this then started this whole thing because I didn't want everybody to see all my business. I want them to see what is necessary for them, of course. But that
Yeah.
meant, first of all, find the bank statements. So when you say about clearing things out, right, if A, find them, B, go through them and redact and highlight the other bits. Then you've got to scan every single page because they don't want it physically, they want it all electronically, right?
Oh dear.
Then find the P45s for the various carers that we had through that period. So suddenly, by the lunar eclipse, I'd come out in a rash, as you and I both just talked,
Uh-huh.
and it's stress inducing. Although I've actually won this thing, there is all the stress of this
Mm.
thing up. which is kind of really,
Yeah.
of course, it all makes sense. We know where Mercury is, and we know that it's all going to be finished and sorted out in a few weeks' time. But it has been, there's been that, and the fact that thanks to my inability to say no, or my ego being so big that when anybody asks me to speak, it never occurs to me that I could actually say no. So
No.
so I say yes automatically, and then discover that I've got 6 presentations all within 2 weeks, and they must all be different. It's,
Hmm. Yeah.
be professional, right? Let's not
Yeah.
duplicate. And of course, then on Sunday, I started teaching this course in Turkey, the fundamentals of financial astrology.
Hmm.
Whole new thing. This is a whole new thing. So,
Yeah.
yes, so in talking about this eclipse, it was full on. And of course, I had advised clients that markets were likely to fall on Tuesday. I've advised them like, on my 2-year forecast or wherever it was, right? So of course they're all coming back and saying, well, should we buy now? Is the war going to only last 2 days? Shall we buy now?
Really?
So there was this, yeah. So there was all of this. So yeah, I mean, yes, it's just been super busy. I think we exceeded, Julie would confirm, but I think we had 153 emails on Tuesday.
Oh my God. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And these were a
But I,
mixture of students and clients. These were not, this wasn't junk mail. This was serious stuff.
I'm more interested in what kind of course you are teaching, but let me share because that's what we're talking about
Yeah.
the lunar eclipse with skin. I don't know why, even for myself, and I feel like a stress for no reason, really for no reason. I kind of reflecting myself and say, okay, calm down, okay, calm down,
Well,
and then that stress caused my asthma on my hands, like
yes,
super itching. And I have Saturn at 13-degree Gemini squared by this
but
eclipse. That was a hand.
yes,
Gemini,
okay.
Saturn in
Yeah.
Gemini. That was so interesting.
Well, for me, it's all come up around my neck, right? It's
Oh,
slightly
yeah,
differently. But can I just say, away from the
yeah,
planets for a minute,
yeah,
standing on the sun, all the planets
yes,
are still on one side of the sun, right? That
yes, yes,
everything is within 180 degrees. Right?
yes,
The
yes.
sun itself had 2 days last week when there were no sunspots. It went from having, over 100 a day and, doing
Yeah,
big stuff. And suddenly it went quiet. I
yeah.
think, and when it goes quiet, then you've got disruption to solar winds, you've got all sorts of things going on. And
Hmm.
it's a shock to our systems, right? And we
Yeah.
shouldn't just think of us, those of you who've got animals. I mean, my cat went ballistic last week.
Hmm.
Goodness knows what was wrong
Hmm.
with him, right? The plants in the garden, they're all acting abnormally. And I think we have to
Okay.
see it as being the solar activity is
Yes.
back. So on that, we can now, I think, history, because the trouble with these solar rhythms is you never
Yeah.
know. You say the average is 11.2 years, but actually there's just
Hmm.
the average. Right?
Yeah.
It had been assumed that the top would be in 2025. It looks now as though the top was actually August 2024, and we're now
Hmm.
into decline. Now, when you come
Yeah.
into decline, stock markets and everything start to come down. Right? So it could be that this is as much to do with solar rhythms, and everything is linked to
Mm.
everything else, of course, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but we should really keep an eye on that. And I think when
Yeah.
it comes to our skin thing, and remember,
Yeah.
the sun is going for your skin. The sun gets to your skin before it gets to your liver or anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
having a response, I think, a nervous response to changes in
Hmm.
solar activity.
Yeah. So should we go to the war now? Because everyone is asking about it. Even I maybe I'm too sensitive, but I even notice a lot of social media people on the social media start mention WW3. And I was like, I heard this for a long time. But
Mm.
we could, but and the most people ask is, are we done yet?
No, I think we've got to be really careful here.
Yes,
I suspect that history will eventually say that World War III began in February of 2022 when Russia went into Ukraine.
I
I,
agree with you
I,
100%.
yeah, I don't think that they're going to pin it on this on the recent action because it isn't just, it's very easy to think, oh, it's Mr. Trump throwing his toys out of the pram. It's actually
Hmm.
much more complicated than that because
Hmm.
the night before this recent hostilities, if you like, began,
Yes.
before that, Pakistan had declared war on the Taliban. Right? So, yeah, so totally independent of US stuff,
Mm.
totally independent. Right?
Yes, yes.
I think you could actually say that war is hanging in the air. Right? And
Hmm.
I suspect that much of this is to do with Pluto at right angles to Haumea, the Kuiper Belt,
Ah.
right angles to that, which is a long-term angle, right? So this is for a few
Hmm.
years. Listen, nobody wants to think like this. But let's be
True.
completely practical. We have got, if humankind reacts as it has done in the past, and it seems to be doing,
Hmm.
the reaction to these particular configurations is to go to war, right? Right.
Hmm.
Dumb as that is, right? And I mean, one of my grandsons said ages ago, he asked, we were talking about pacifism or something, and he said
Yes.
he didn't understand why people went to war because every war always ends with talking. So why couldn't they just start with the talking?
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
okay.
smart boy.
Very smart. Yeah. And this is true because what we're seeing at the moment is might is right. Right? But
Yeah.
but the words aren't there yet. We're not at that point. So to get
Hmm.
to where everybody is now, right, it was absolutely clear when this hostility began, as Mercury was turning retrograde, right?
Yes.
As we were between eclipses and as we
Hmm.
were under a Mars Uranus square, it was
Yes.
this was never going to be a 2 or 3 day wonder. It was never going to be
Mm.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The strong possibility, I made a note of this, is that we know that Saturn and Neptune met up at the beginning
Yes.
of Aries. So, and
Yeah.
that's still in the air. Their parallel doesn't finish for a while yet. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
so we might as well, still sitting inside the conjunction. Mm.
Mm.
So and that conjunction is going to be triggered again by
Mm.
Mercury and Mars
Hmm.
still got to get over 0 degrees of Aries. So that suggested right from day
Yeah.
this thing that it would probably be 5 to 6 weeks, which is of course
Hmm.
that's what's been suggested now, right?
Yeah.
Even the Americans could run out of ammunition. I mean,
Hmm.
and let's hope that that is the case. Let's hope that by March the 21st, the
Hmm.
beginnings of chatter and diplomacy begin. I'm
Hmm.
not, I'm
Yeah.
not hugely hopeful because until we get to it's about the 10th of April, I think, and before
Hmm.
I think things begin to, ease off a bit, and perhaps there's a little bit of quiet or quietude, right?
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
but if you ask me to think otherwise, the again, who wants to think negatively? But when the United States came into being, as we know it now, Uranus was at
Yeah.
8 degrees of Gemini. And every
Yes.
time Uranus has come to 8 degrees Gemini since, they've gone to war, Pearl Harbor and all of that. So
Hmm.
Uranus is going to go into Gemini at the end of April, right?
Oof.
And it's going to have another Uranus return within the next 12
Hmm.
months. So nobody wants to see this at all, but
Hmm.
it's possible that we're looking at something that is prolonged. I use,
Yes.
as you know, I use that the Mies chart of mankind. Mm.
Yes, I remember that
Yeah.
chart.
And that
Yes.
the key degree there is 7 degrees of Taurus,
Hmm.
which is where Saturn and Pluto and Chiron all have their little configuration in June of
Yeah.
2028. So please God, I am wrong. Please, 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 right? But it's entirely possible that this show is going to run at least through until then and might not clear until the eclipse in January of 2029.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd be very, very happy to be wrong about that. But that whole and sorry, what we haven't mentioned in any of this, Rod, is we haven't mentioned the United Nations. Mm. Because
It sounds like yeah, it sounds like nothing their decision can have impact on
but
Trump.
but we saw this. We were talking about the United Nations last year, right?
Yeah.
It's I think I'm right in saying it's about the 26th of October, 45. Anyway,
Hmm.
its sun is at the beginning of Scorpio. Right? So
Hmm.
its sun last year was being Plutoed. Pluto at
Mm, yeah.
right angles to it. It
Hmm.
has been losing power for a long time. It was no longer fit for purpose, which is why he's thought it doesn't international law doesn't matter. What
Mm,
you and I have been saying, I think perhaps even as much as 2 years ago, is that
yeah.
we needed a new international assembly. And perhaps
Hmm.
one of the things that's going to come out of this, and especially
Mm.
Saturn in Aries, opposes all the Libra planets from the UN chart.
Ah,
Maybe this is going to lead to a reconstruction, right? Because before we had
mm,
the United Nations, we had the League of Nations. Now we need something else. Be very clear,
yeah.
something else.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So, what do you think about another part? Now we have all focused on all eyes on Middle East, Iran, and then, but what happened like in the early this year with Venezuela? You
Well,
know, he was like it was like he was like take Maduro out, and then now he's like quiet.
I think that whole story is going to come back because
Uh-huh.
the chart for Venezuela. God, you put me on the spot this morning, but I'm
Sure.
pretty certain the sun is at 28 degrees of Virgo in that chart.
Hmm. I think
And
so. Yes.
that's right. So the eclipse in September, and I'm pretty certain it had a Sun Neptune opposition in its natal chart. I think I remember.
Hmm.
So when it was eclipsed, its president was already losing power before Mr. Trump went in and grabbed him. Right?
Hmm.
We've still got to have Mercury and Mars and all that not go back over 28 degrees of Pisces, and I think all of that will flare because
Hmm.
we don't actually understand their administration yet. We don't really know who's in charge. We don't know when
Yeah.
we're going to have elections. The Venezuelans are living inside a question mark.
Hmm.
Uh, one of the charts I was looking at for Iran yesterday, because that's a whole other thing. I mean, which chart do you want to look at?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is, but one of those had 28 degrees of Virgo highlighted. I listened to the
Yeah.
news this morning, and they were talking about one of the things they're worried about is that Iran itself might break up into smaller
Oh,
pieces because it's a huge area with people
yeah.
different tribes or whatever ethnic.
Uh-huh.
And that made me think, whilst Pluto was going through Capricorn, and
Hmm.
prior to Pluto getting there, we thought we were talking about the fragility of borders and the fact that nations, by the time Pluto left Capricorn, nations would
Mm.
be as they had been before. And
Hmm.
now I think we're still living with the legacy of some of that. And I think
Hmm.
just in the same way that everybody is shouting about borders here in the
Yeah.
UK, protect our border, in the USA, build another wall, uh, I think we are seeing reconstruction just about
Hmm.
everywhere. And,
Mm. Yeah.
but mankind has lived through all this stuff before. Sorry, I'm doing all the talking again, but I was reading this book about the fall of Carthage and Syracuse,
Hmm.
and Troy and things. And it's really, I don't think about going to visit Carthage. It's not, I think about going to Palermo and places, but I don't
Yeah.
think about that. And the sort of the thought that actually, I think what we're seeing is we're seeing the rise and fall of civilization again, but we're seeing it
Hmm.
play out on our TV screens. We're
Mm.
actually we're we're watching a deconstruction and hopefully within our lifetimes a
Mm.
reconstruction.
Wow, we have an audience say like currently stuck in Dubai. Oh my God. that we and some people just say hello to you and from the YouTube and say they currently apparently stuck in Dubai. Oh, that is not
No,
really pleasant feeling.
no,
Yeah,
this is
no,
really
that
this is
I'm
really
really sorry to hear that.
this is really awful. And I looked, and I hate to be sort of negative about this, but I was looking at a chart this morning, which was for the moment that Mr. Trump fired his, the first shot was fired, and that I think put Chiron right on the midheaven through Dubai. Right.
Mm, yeah,
The good news about that is everything moves on, right? Everything does
yeah,
move on. This is not permanent, right?
yeah, yeah.
The eyes of the world are on it now, but it's Chiron. The problem will solve. It's just
Hmm.
sadly, we have Mercury
Hmm.
retrograde as well, so we can't get
Yes.
things there to bring people out.
Hmm.
It's a mess.
Yeah. One thing before we say goodbye, one thing I'm not going to ask you this question. I just want to share. One thing I read from the Sunday Time. They're talking about the least hostility in the Middle East situation may really kind of ruin the. We try to take the interest rate down. And but with this, with this situation with the petrol, the price may go up again. We may face another, inflation coming back and push the interest rate back. That was very interesting because we've been talking about this for a
Well, we've been saying
while,
this
isn't it?
for ages. I mean,
Yeah.
I watched our chancellor speak, and give her
Mm,
broad, her assessment the other day. And I thought, God, you've got no idea. Listen, and Jupiter is not going to skip a sign, right? It's going
yeah,
to go to Leo, right? It's going to join
yeah.
Neptune in Aries, and if the past is an indicator of the future, we are going to have inflation, right? This is a fact. Don't mess with it, right? This is a part. It's in a sense it's normal, right? Unless somehow or other humankind can break old patterns, but we're
Definitely.
not very good at doing that, you know?
Mm. I think would you cover this more in the coming up the big program because I want to mention this. Our dear friend Wade Cave organized the World Astrology Summit. It's one of your 12 labor, right? For next
Yes,
one.
yes, I am going to talk about this in depth. And as I said, I think I said to you before we got on, right? I've got 6 presentations to do. They've all got to be different, right? They must be
Yeah,
different. But for Wade's thing, and indeed, actually also for the 16th international thing that is coming out of Turkey,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
We cannot avoid talking about
Mm,
inflation across the world, but
yeah.
I will not be doing the same thing. It'll be different slides for different things. But I'd done a talk for NCGR some time back where they asked me,
Hmm.
fantastic request that they gave me. They asked me to go back over Pluto in Capricorn and
I
pick
remember
all
that.
the
Yeah,
right, and pick up all the momentous decisions taken then. So this time I've taken that journey a little bit further, and I'm looking at the deckhands of Pluto going through Aquarius and
uh-huh.
how we might see money develop over this next 15 years or so.
Yeah. So I want to share this information with everyone as a way to really put a lot of effort to put everything together. So I want to invite everyone to join me and Christine for this the World Astrology Summit. I think most of you already know this event is from the 21st March to 22nd, and we will astrologer from all around the world. I think Mary Gracia. And then Joshua, dear Hakan will be there. Christine, and I'm up to you. I will talk about Christine. We're talking about the financial situation, right?
Yep, yep.
The yeah, power and
The
affirmation and
fragmentation. Yep.
yeah. So there's definitely going to understand because at this moment, every time when you hear about people talking about the investment market, and they are just like a very enthusiastic and very optimistic. I was just like, I wish I'm wrong, but I'm not that optimistic in this way. Anyway, I'm going to talk about well, the area has been maybe I hope it's we will stay quiet like this, but I'm not sure, especially when you look at Aries English chart and the Libra English chart for 2026. You will say, who will be next? So I'm talking about between Taiwan and China.
Yeah.
And then we have dear Maria Black. We're talking about World Cup. That will be interesting. And Sheila, also Paula will be there. So dear Wendy will be there. So please join us. Oh, Lin Bear, dear Lin Bear will be there, and Dan is very very popular at this moment on YouTube with Mountain Astrology. So please join us from 21st to 22nd of March, World Astrology Summit. You can go to visit skyscrape.co.uk. I will put the link underneath, and then go to enroll if you haven't. And this is a wonderful event, but I mean, I have to do it for myself because there is our event, and this is for the beginner. Because I always have, I don't know why, I always want to do something for beginner. So
Listen,
I invite,
I've had such
yeah,
fun putting this one together for the beginners one. I'm going to do money in the birth chart. And
yeah, yeah.
I'm so enjoying this because it's a long time since I've done it in those and actually it's really rewarding. It's really good fun.
Cool. Cool. So this is our event. We only have 2 weeks to advertising it. So please come to join us. Christine will give a very very beginner friendly. Hold your hand to read your chart, to read the chart. Go to to beginner guide to money in the birth chart. So if you ever into financial astrology or want to know how to handle your financial situation from your birth chart, and you are a beginner, this course is definitely suit you. Okay, so and I heard of all the different version. I heard all the different version from Christine.
No,
I don't know.
I'm really looking forward to this. I've been doing a lot of stuff with the moon for it. So,
Yeah,
yes, and I want to look at it, how you find a healthy financial flow.
cool. So
That's
I
the
will
aim.
welcome everyone to join us. But apart from here, so Christine, you said your own course. So when would be your weekend course for
Oh,
this time?
the monthly one, the next monthly
Yeah.
one is the Sunday. They're always around about the 22nd of the month. So unfortunately, my monthly thing coincides with Wade's
Oh
event.
yes.
But
Yeah.
we always record it, and so you can buy it and watch it later on. But yes,
Okay.
and the numbers on that are growing all the time. So I
Mm.
love doing that one because that one is very much driven by students. So if they say, look, we
Hmm.
want to do oil prices or we want to do silver, then we can, we follow that. So it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Always a student and the client is always the drive to push us to do more, to study more.
Yes, yes. And the Turkish thing that began the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just they're a fantastic group of people, but they've
Hmm.
already made me up my game a bit. They're asking really good questions, and I'm thinking this is good. I like this, right? But of course,
Oh,
Saturn,
okay.
I have a Mercury Saturn conjunction at 5 and 6 of Libra, and
Uh-huh.
of course Saturn is opposing them. So
Yeah.
here we
Okay.
go. Here we go. Right. And I laughed. I must just tell you, Ira,
Yeah.
the older one of the grandsons, he was born on my second Saturn return. So we have
Hmm.
identical Saturns. And who do you think I needed at the weekend for technical expertise but him? So, of course,
Ah.
and he's now going to come for each of these things. And I thought, this is the legacy of this Saturn is continuing.
Oh my God. That is so
Funny.
cute.
It's
That
cute.
is
It's
so
cute.
cute.
It's
Yeah.
quite cute.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, listen,
So
I hope you stay well there,
yeah,
right?
I will. Yeah.
Keep covered up because this sun is really fierce.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And
And then
hot
yeah.
chocolate at London Bridge when you come back.
Definitely.
There we go.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for joining us today, and thank Christine to take your time out. Even we have like a 8 hours time difference, but thank you
But
for
we
getting
did
up so early.
right. No, I've been up. I've been up for a while. And listen, our friend in Dubai, safe travels.
Yeah,
Safe
definitely.
travels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, and thanks everyone. See you next month. Bye
Thank
bye.